APC is seeking a re-election after emerging through the court 4 years ago. Now he's facing a very tough race in that state against Samuel Ayanwu of the PDP and Ethan Achonu of Labour Party. The election in Imo State is coming on the backdrop of that attack on the NLC President Joe Ajaero, with many people drawing a different interpretation to it and how it could affect the pattern of voting in the state, especially when it comes to welfare of workers in Imo State. In Kogi State, Ahmed Ododo is the candidate of the APC, hoping to take over from Yaya Bello, the current governor of the state. He's going up against Dino Melaye of the PDP, Yakubu Murtala of the SDP, and Okeme Adejo of the Labour Party. Meanwhile, in Bayelsa State, also on the ballot in today's election is the former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, Bayelsa State. So of the PDP, so he's going up against Timothy Silva, also served as governor before he became Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. There's also the Labour Party there with Dengs Eradiri on the ballot in the state. So according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Kogi State, 1.9 million voters registered to participate in today's election. 1.8 million PVCs have been collected. In Imo, 2.4 million registered voters are going to, already 2.3 million voters collected their PVCs, while in Bayelsa State, 1,056,000 people registered to vote and collected PVCs 1,017,000. So today we'll be looking at the intrigues playing out in the state before the election. What is happening today? We'll be giving you update. We'll also be getting the assessment of our in-house panelists about the preparation of INEC, security agencies, and what have you, and expectation as well, especially given the reaction that trailed the 2023 general election. INEC is promising again that this time all the technical glitches experienced in the presidential election has been sorted out, and we can expect that result will be transmitted real time on the IRF portal. Do you trust INEC to deliver on this promise? Once again, in this off-cycle election, these are some of the things we're looking at. Also, later on the show, we'll be joining Comrade JULIUS, ABURE, the chairman of Labour Party. We'll be assessing the performance of his party in the 2023 election. We'll be looking at reactions to the court's judgment and also the internal squabble within his party with the Lamidi Apapa faction on one side, saying that Peter Obi should forget about picking up the ticket of Labour Party in the 2027 presidential election. All of that and more on the podium. But first, we listen to the IGP, Kayode Egbetokun. We listen to the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. We also listen to the INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. All of them talking about various preparations that have been put in place ahead of today's election in 3 states, Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa.
We want to give assurance to Nigerians that this election will be even better than whatever we have had in the past. This election is going to be free and fair. This election will be without interference. This election is going to be without violence.
All the security agencies are collaborating strongly to ensure that this election is violent-free. My appeal to people who may want to come out to make trouble during this election is to stay away from this election, because there will be no place for them to operate in this election.
The armed forces is going to provide full, comprehensive support to ensuring that the police is able to perform its duties without any interference. And so we want to assure Nigerians, especially those in those 3 states for the off-season election, not to have any fear or any doubt that the armed forces and the police and other security agencies will be fully on ground. Every Nigerian, we're sure, is tired of elections with violence. This, we intend to make it different.
Electronic accreditation, electronic upload of results on the IRF portal. We are taking proactive measures to ensure that we give voters a pleasant experience, voting experience on election day.
Yeah, you heard from the various stakeholders side of today's election. Of course, we will be trooping, as I mentioned earlier, in 3 states across the country. Some say this is another major test on the table of INEC to regain what some people would describe as the credibility that was tainted after the 2023 election, depending on how you assess that election itself. It's also coming, as I mentioned earlier, against a backdrop of that attack on the NLC President Joe Ajaero. He gave a world press conference yesterday. Let's you can listen to him, and then we'll start off the conversation with Professor Remi Ayede to get his assessment of happenings before this election and his expectation of today. Let's listen to Joe Ajaero.
That workers that arrive as early as 7 a.m., were beating up, their properties, their belongings, their phones seized. Some of them with broken eyes. It was because of that around 9 that I went there with the assistance of about 20 security personnel. I was in the secretariat of the NLC and called some journalists to join, and then some of the officials of the NLC, so that we can address the press on the situation in Imo. It was then that the police led other people, those uniform, mufti, and they came and we drew about 20 security personnel that were there, we cried to, guiding us. And then the policeman arrested me and handed me over to talk. One of his small, I don't know whether that one is sergeant or inspector, say, okay, why don't you?
Well, you could listen to Juajero there, narrating his ordeal in the hands of security agencies. He says he was picked up by the police and, according to him, they handed him over to thugs. It's a very long clip. I cannot play it till the end because we have a lot of ground to cover on the show this morning. Let me quickly bring in Prof now. Prof, I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning. Great to have you again on the show as always.
Yeah, good morning. I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, morning, Prof.
Good Saturday morning.
Yes, great to have you. Prof is joining us virtually from Nairobi, Kenya. So, Prof, talk to me about, first of all, Imo. This state has been listed as one of the flashpoints in this off-cycle election. To what extent do you think what happened to Juajero has further complicated things for INEC today and how the elections might pan out in that state?
Yeah, I think it's important for us to register the fact that 3 states are actually flashpoints, but that the situation in Imo are taking a very new character, and that's why it's outstanding in terms of the threats and volatility of that state. And this is particularly also so because of what has happened to the NSC president. And it's unfortunate given the situation because, Imo has a serious governance issue with all those unknown gunmen creating all kinds of threats and recording series of killings and exchanges with the police. So Imo is really a very challenging situation, and probably it's closest to the situation we had in Anambra in their last election, but it seems to have even been worse than that of Anambra. So we have a real problem in our hands in Imo State, and then the activities that have, the violence that has occurred in the build-up to this election is really very troubling. So I hope that INEC is supported heavily with security forces, because I remember when I was in Anambra during those very tough days, every single nook and cranny of the state was manned by heavily armed security officials. I expect the same in Imo State, and those officials are not supposed to be around the polling unit, but they are supposed to be on every highway and every significant road that they think dangerous people could take advantage of. So yes, it's a challenge, but I think that since it's an off-season election, there will be sufficient personnel and there will also be sufficient security agents to man those places.
Yeah, and if we go to Kogi, let me bring in Barrister now. Barrister Ogunlola is still okay. Let me first continue with Prof. Then Kogi is also holding an election, as you said. All 3 states are flashpoint for you, but the stakes look to be very high in Kogi State as well. Yaya Bello is looking to hand over to Ododo, the candidate of his party, the APC, but tensions are high there. Some say it's a 3-horse race. Talk to me about what you're seeing in Kogi State, your assessment of the situation there pre-election, and what you expect to play out today.
Well, the good thing is that in spite of all these shenanigans, in that general election, the court has ruled, and we also know that there has been some triumph from the opposition party. We also know that Dino is also known for drama. So we really have a situation where the contest will be very, very keen in Kogi State. And that's why I agree with you that Kogi State can also be considered a flashpoint. You remember the Tata slogan in Kogi State. Yeah. So we hope that that will not repeat itself. But again, luckily, once you have an off-season election, what is important is if the security agencies are neutral, because that's very fundamental. If they are found to side with one of the parties or one of the candidates, then that will be very bad, both for democracy and also for INEC, because security is very important for INEC officials, very important even for election observers. But if the security agents are neutral, then you have a level playing field in a situation of keen contest like you have in Kogi State. So we hope that the security agencies will remain neutral and they will not side with any political party. I'm saying this because there have been off-season elections where the elections are over militarized. Remember the case of Ekiti State and the fallout from that election, which led to the dismissal or retirement of many military officers who openly became compromised within that election. And if we have a similar situation in Kogi, it would be very unfortunate. So we hope that since our president has openly identified commitment to democracy, in fact, he was even willing to go to Niger to restore democratic rule, if not for the opposition, by force, if not for the opposition from within Nigeria. We hope that that commitment will be demonstrated in the way security agencies are used in this off-season election. Short of that, there will be it will be really unfortunate for INEC and also for democracy in Nigeria.
Right. Let me quickly bring in Barrister before we go on our first break. Comrade Julius ABURE is already on ground. He's joining us virtually this morning. We'll join him after our first break. But let me bring on Barrister very quickly. Barrister, good morning. Good to have you.
Yes, good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah.
And good morning, Prof. How is Kenya?
Yeah, Kenya is cool and quiet.
I hear your ladies are missing.
The president made a nation address this week. So everybody is analyzing his speech with the austerity measures that is also going on here.
I hear your Kenyan ladies are missing Nigerian men. And the authorities are not.
Well, I saw that on social media too. But Nigerian men are popular in East Africa and also in South Africa, so it's fine.
I mean, we've got to be popular. Anyway, I think we need to go on our break now. When we get back, I'll get Barrister's thoughts on what Prof said earlier about election violence and readiness of security agencies, and then we'll join Comrade Julius ABURE on the podium this morning. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Hero máa o ẹ̀dá gírí máa bọ̀ o. Sílé iṣẹ́ mi wá ń tó kalẹ̀ sójele. Kónílé ó gbọ́ o, kálejò gbọ́. Ẹ sọ fàdán kóró fó bẹ̀. Pélé iṣẹ́ mi wá Naturalist Care Limited ti kalẹ̀ kà sóje. Ọlọ́run ló kúkú dirí ẹwà fákùkọ tiwa. Gbogbo oògùn tó ń jáde nílé iṣẹ́ mi wá ń pátá ló wà níbẹ̀. Lówó tí ò ga jara lọ. Pẹ̀lú irinṣẹ́ ìgbàlóde lóníranran. Àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ ń bẹ níkàlẹ̀ fáyẹ̀wò ara. Àwọn fi tó wa létí wípé àǹfààní ń bẹ fún gbogbo àádọ́ta ènìyàn kọ́kọ́ 50 tí wọ́n bá kọ́kọ́ ń dé lójúmọ́. Ẹ máa gba káàdì ọ̀fẹ́, àyẹ̀wò ọ̀fẹ́. Ẹ tún máa fi ẹgbẹ̀rún mẹ́ta náírà 3,000 péré gba oògùn lọ́dọ̀ wa. Ẹ tara ṣàṣà máa bọ̀ ní Àjọkẹ́ Plaza ní dojúkọ Swift Oil tó wà ní Tèmídìrí Òjé Ìbàdàn. Ẹ̀ló wa ní 080-340-51533. Ẹ̀mí one ló sọ wípé nífà ìsàn sọdún o.
Gbogbo wa la ní àwọn kóòdù tá a fi ń ṣe déédéé. Kóòdù ọ̀rẹ́, kóòdù ẹgbẹ́ àti kóòdù àyànfẹ́. Kóòdù Glo ti wà lóde báyìí o. Pẹ̀lú kóòdù Glo, ẹ ó ní àǹfààní sí àwọn àṣàyàn Glo pẹ̀lú ìrọ̀rùn láti bá àwọn aṣojú oníbàárà Glo sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ 300 láti yan airtime tàbí data. Ẹ tẹ kóòdù *303# láti ṣe àyẹ̀wò airtime lórí Glo. Ẹ tẹ *310#. ṣùgbọ́n láti ṣe àyẹ̀wò dátà ẹ tẹ star 323 hash fífi recharge card sínú fóònù ẹ tẹ star 311 star recharge card pin hash láti wọlé sí ètò dátà Glo ẹ tẹ star 312 hash láti pín dátà pẹ̀lú ẹlòmíràn star 321 hash. èyí tó wá dára jù ń bẹ̀ ni pé tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ rántí kóòdù èyíkéyìí ẹ tẹ star 301 hash lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ẹ ó ní àǹfààní láti rí àṣàyàn àwọn kóòdù Glo. ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò kóòdù Glo.
Unlimited.
Getting a good deal is like finding money in your pocket when you need it the most. Sweet. You know that feeling, right? A good deal you don't want to miss this Ember period is 32FM's digital sales promo. Our love for you and your business has led us to create this chance for you to advertise on any of our social media platforms for 5,000 Naira only. To grab this offer, reach out to us via these numbers 0703 476 7684 or 0810 067 2518. This offer is valid from November 1st to 31st December 2023. So, let's make this moolah.
Power on sachet, 100 naira. I said power on sachet, 100 naira. It good for food, it good for your pocket. 100 naira. Mama, papa, power on the go. 100 naira. Power oil, yeah. 100 naira. Just you. Power oil, it for you. 100 naira. Send 100 naira.
Buy your Power Oil 45 ml sachet at 100 naira only.
Power oil, power oil.
Danabit Homes and Properties. Ilé-iṣẹ́ tó ti ń talẹ̀ fún ọ̀pọ̀ ọdún títàn garan àdéhùn àwọn oníbàárà ọ̀tọ́wọ̀ ẹ̀fọ́rí. Danabit Homes and Properties. Wọ́n wá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ti bá wọn ralẹ̀. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ti ń kọ́ àtẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ti kọ́ parí. Wọ́n wá ń pe àkíyèsí yín sí àwọn àṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ darapọ̀. Fẹ́ ralẹ̀ wípé àsìkò tó tọ́ lẹ fẹ́ ralẹ̀ ní Danabit. Láti mọ rírì ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ti ralẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀. Tẹ́ ẹ rówó láti lo didi plot. Tàbẹ́ ń fẹ́ ra half plot tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ìlàjì plot lè lé fúnlẹ̀ tó bára. Wọ́n gbàṣẹ dángájá lọ́wọ́ ìjọba ni. Kò lè búlẹ̀gbẹ́ lọ́jọ́ iwájú. Lọ lo àsìkò tó wórógùn ìsìn kan rè. Ra half plot kó di full plot ní Honor Estate. Àwọn tó mọ yìí wípé ilẹ̀ máa appreciate ni wọ́n ti kówó lé má ṣe méjì 300,000 péré ní half plot òdìdí plot 600,000 sanwó-kún wọn plot fún ọkọ́lé bóralẹ̀ kọ́lé iṣẹ́ ra 4 plot àǹfààní yìí fún ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì péré ni o àdéhùn ń bẹ pẹ̀lú ìlànà láti jàǹfààní offer bẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀ náà Danabit Homes and Properties 070-4443-3316 090-4779-7352 081-8841-8137 Danabit wà ní Prime Time Plaza plot 3 block B11 Alẹ́sọ̀lọ́yẹ beside Bidin petrol station Ìbàdàn tètè rà lẹ́mbẹ̀ kọ́ dálékọ́.
Any flourish tea, any flourish capsule, egbògi ohun mímu tó fara lókun. Ó mára jí pépé o, ó mẹ́jẹ̀ mọ́ lóló, ó dènà fúnpá gíga. Any Real Boots Global Ventures ló ṣe é o.
Bó o bá rẹni tó mu any flourish tea, wàá ti dá mọ̀ yàtọ̀, á tutù lẹ́jẹ̀ dódódó, àwa máa dán lójú yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀. Ilé-iṣẹ́ any Real Boots Global Ventures ló ń ṣe é. Ògùn mímu atẹ́jẹ̀ṣe, tá a fi wé àtẹ̀gbò igi ilẹ̀ wa ṣe lóríṣiríṣi, nílànà ti gbàlódé, pẹ̀lú ìmọ́tótó, ó wà lólómi àtòníkóró. NAFDAC fòǹtẹ̀lú gbà. Ní gbogbo ilé ìtajà lẹ́tí lè ríra. Ilé-iṣẹ́ any Real Boots Global Ventures wà ní number 33 Ondo Street, Ọ̀ṣútòkun Avenue, Old Bodija, Ìbàdàn. Láti rà tàbí jí alágbàtà rẹ̀, ẹ pè 070-6719-7812.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression. Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
Only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back. It's the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Before we continue the conversation, let's quickly give some credit to members of staff of 32 FM and some residents of Ibadan here in Oyo State joining the team earlier today to clean up Ojaba Market here in Ibadan as part of efforts to ensure a cleaner environment in the city. The commissioner also joined them as well, Nebu Abdulmajid Mugbojubola and his team. They were there earlier today. Barrister.
Yes, I want to give special kudos to the government of Oyo State, the governor, Engineer Sheyi Makinde, and of course, the man in the eye of the storm, the Honorable Commissioner, Abdulmajid Mugbojubola, and the members of staff of 32 FM 94.9 for this social service. I give you all the credit. And I want to ask, Honorable Commissioner, if you are listening to us, I hope it is not going to end with Ojaba, that we take this social service around Oyo State. Right. I know that you are a man who is highly desirous of making Oyo State a clean city. Yeah, and we can only wish you all the very best.
All right, certainly. We'll be giving you more updates about the elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa. Right now, we'll be switching gears a bit, but it's still connected, actually, because we have the Labour Party chairman with us. Now, the 2023 election for some marked a turning point in Nigeria's opposition politics as the winner, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, got just a little over 8 million votes, the lowest garnered by a winner since 1999. An indication of how closely fought that contest was. Also for some, the rapid growth of the obedient movement and that of the Labour Party has spurred hope for a potent third force in the country. Apart from the 6 million votes it got in the presidential election, the Labour Party won a number of seats in the National Assembly and one governorship election as well, thus ushering in a conversation about what the future holds for the party. Now, as the new government takes shape, stakeholders, social commentators are also scrutinizing the future of opposition politics in Nigeria. If you look at the National Assembly, for instance, the spread of the seat in the House of Representatives for some is encouraging. They say this numerical advantage for opposition parties has raised optimism among the public and that they will effectively keep the ruling party accountable and on their toes, as well as act as a check and balance to prevent any abuse of power. On today's show, as I said earlier, I'll be talking to Julius ABURE of the Labour Party. We'll be discussing the 2023 election, the Supreme Court verdict, internal wrangling within his party, and a very critical one, his party playing the opposition role, as the presidential candidate said in his World Press Conference on Monday, that the party is officially in the opposition to ensure that it's checks and balance and prevent any abuse of power. Comrade Julius ABURE, good morning. Great to have you. I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, great to have you, sir. Thank you for joining us on 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan.
Yes, good to be with you this morning.
Yes, great to have you, sir. So let me begin with, your assessment of the election. Of course, your party has criticized the election. You've criticized the conduct of INEC, the Supreme Court verdict as well. It's no longer news. But people are looking at, the fact that even though the election didn't go your way, or even though there are reservations you have about the election, there are some silver lining in it. The fact that you're able to stand up within a very short period of time to get that number of votes, that in itself is encouraging for what the future holds of our democracy, for the kind of third force, for the kind of political party or movement that can challenge the dominant party. So regardless of your reservation, do you share that optimism as well in some Nigerians about the silver lining in that election?
Yeah, well, obviously, we didn't meet our expectation. Obviously, because of the performance of INEC security agencies and several other factors that may be responsible why we feel that the election was short of our expectation. But like you rightly noted, we made very tremendous progress in that election. Like you said, we have the governor today. We have several House of Assembly members, and we also have members in the National Assembly and the Senate. For me, even though we didn't achieve our overall objective, I think we have made some progress and we have made a lot of successes. And this puts us in a position to play the role of opposition effectively, like I have said. Awolowo have once said that viral opposition is the soul of democracy. And therefore, since history has entrusted on us at this point to play that role, we decisively play that role effectively. So I agree with you that in spite of the pitfall in the 2023 general election, my party under my leadership have achieved a lot, and we give glory to God for that opportunity.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up to your thoughts. You've said that you want to play that role, but some would say you cannot play that role with a divided house. I mean, there's major internal wrangling in your party. You know, the Lamidi Apapa faction, various court judgment here and there. In fact, shortly after the Supreme Court verdict, I remember seeing a report of Lamidi Apapa saying that, you know, the Labour Party, that's his own faction, will never give Peter Obi the ticket in 2027. So, regardless of the pronouncement of various courts across the country, how do you hope to deal with this internal wrangling in the party? How do you hope to solve it? Because when you talk to PDP or APC, they say, oh, it's a family affair. But in your case, it looks like it's different. It looks like this is festering for too long. And some say, if you want to actually put the government on its toes, you cannot do it with a divided house.
Well, I believe very strongly that even as at now, we have put government on toes. It has not stopped us from doing what we need to do. Labour Party was first to speak on the 160 million per vehicle for SUG for members of the National Assembly. We have not relented playing that role before the pronouncement of the presidential candidate. We have always done that. Today, Labour Party is a leading party participating in the Imo Koba election, Kogi, and Bayelsa State. All these are not controversial. Today in Imo, I'm very hopeful that my party will emerge and win the Koba election in Imo State. The indicators are very clear that Labour Party will win that election. And therefore, all of this put together shows clearly that that role of opposition is what we are playing, and we are playing it very, very effective. It's very clear to all Nigerians, and I'm sure you too know, that Lamidi and Papa are not members of the party anymore. They are those who were members of the party initially and were bought over by the All Progressive Congress. There's no saying about that. That is clear and very obvious to all Nigerians.
Commander ABURE, if I could...
And therefore, please allow me to make the point.
All right.
You've asked a question, I think you're question to.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, let me allow you.
No, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Finish your thought, and then I would ask you what I wanted to ask you. Go ahead, sir.
So I think it's categorically clear that Lamidi and Papa are not members of the party. All what they are saying, all their videos, what they do, you can see that they are not members of the party. They are only reading the script of what is given to them by opposition political parties. So for me, we refuse to be distracted on whatever any person is doing. That's why of late I have restrained myself from dissipating energy and responding to whatever they say. Having said this, the highest court in the land have made a pronouncement. All of that courts have made a pronouncement. But I think that those giving them relevance is those of you in the media, which I think we should actually look at and portray the way we give them audience and make it look as if they are factions.
Okay.
If the Supreme Court have made a pronouncement that this is the leadership of the party, just as the Supreme Court have said Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president, and we are all complying. So if such have also been said about the leadership of the party, that I am the national chairman of the party, and that there are no factions in the party, I do not see any issues with it.
Okay.
Those of you in the media
Comrade ABURE, let me quickly come in here. You've talked about a court verdict affirming you as a national chairman. You've also said Lamidi Apapa is not a member of the party. But, I mean, some people will disagree with you because I've seen, he said it time and time again that he's been a member of the party since 2002. That, as a matter of fact, it was, Peter Obi and those who followed him from the PDP that hijacked the structure of the party from him. So if you're saying he's not a member of the party, there are those who would want to disagree with you because he says he's been a member of that party since 2002. Also, he said that, look, whatever happens, Peter Obi will not be the candidate of the Labour Party in 2027. You are saying now that you are the chairman of the party based on a court judgment. if you are the chairman and you know politics is a game of numbers, shouldn't you find a way, by whatever means, to bring them back to the fold, regardless of the previous internal wranglings both of you have had? So the first one is you saying he's not a member. Of course, he said he's a member since 2002. He was a vibrant member here in Oyo State as well, vibrant Labour leader, as a matter of fact, here in Oyo State. So people would disagree with that line of thought that he's not a member of the party. The second one is what you're doing, because you've claimed that you're the authentic national chairman. I've said you're the authentic national chairman. What you're doing to resolve these issues, because no matter how you look at it, politics indeed is a game of numbers. You need all the numbers on your side to tackle your opponent in an election in any way whatsoever.
Well, I would disagree with the fact that he has been a member of the party since 2002, just as I have been a member too since 2002. But following his anti-party activities in the 2023, after the 2023 general election, he has been suspended from the party, and that's why I believe very strongly that he's no longer a member of the party. I've not disputed the fact that he has been a member. He was, in fact, my deputy chairman of the party, and allowed himself to be bought over by an opposition political party and being used to truncate the objective of the party. And therefore, he has been suspended from the party. And that's why I say clearly that he's no longer a member of the party. As to who is national chairman of the party, I think it is not that. He was my deputy, no doubt about it. And the courts have said so, members of the party have all said so. And it's very clear, even to all Nigerians, as to who is the national chairman of the party. If you go to INEC website, it's clear as to who is chairman of the party. So nobody is struggling with me as to who is the national chairman of the party. Like I pointed out today, the candidates I needed for Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa governorship election are the ones running for the election. Today you have invited me to this program as the national chairman of the party, and I'm sure you acknowledge that. Last week, Sunday, channels organized the program on election security and invited 3 top political parties, PDP, APC, and the Labour Party, and I was there. The IG was there, and several other stakeholders that I was in that meeting where I represented the party and spoke on behalf of the party. And today you have also invited me on that capacity, and I'm doing just that. I agree with you very strongly that politics is a game of numbers, no doubt about it. But it's also a matter of choice. Apapa and Co can decide where they want to pitch tent. And I think that they have shown that very clearly where they want to be. And democracy allows people to make choices. In fact, that's the beauty of democracy. So they have decided where they want to be. And we're also here. We have taken the bull by the horn. If they are members of the party, they move about to withdraw our candidates who have won the election in the House. Our candidates in Lagos, in Abia, mainly, Apapa and his group are moving around to say that they are not candidates of the party. So whose interest are they protecting? Whose interest are they working? They go about endorsing other candidates of other political parties. So it's very clear that in body and in soul, they are not members of the party. So for me, the Bible says you forgive the iniquities of those who offend you. If they are truly repentant, I will see that they have repented from their sin. There's nothing wrong in reconciliation. I'm not opposed to reconciliation, but to obviously not be with those who have not repented from their sin or who is somewhere masquerading in the name of the party.
Yeah, you've said quite a number of things here. You said that they are working against the interests of the party, trying to truncate the chance of the candidate of your party. Few months ago, they also came up with allegations of forgery, that the withdrawal letter of some candidate are emerged in Ebonyi State, in Edo State as well, that their withdrawal letter, which was sent to INEC, were allegedly forged, by your group in the party. And they say that those who were, before, the court judgment and everything, those who belonged to your faction of the party were trying to hijack the structure of the party, were trying to impose their interests. That was why they fought. In fact, I'm seeing the report here. I remember Abayomi Arabambi going to Channels Television at that particular day to talk about the withdrawal letter of Oko from contesting the governorship election in Ebonyi State, submitted to INEC. He said it was forged. There was also the case of a State House of Assembly member in Edo State as well, whose signature was allegedly forged. These allegations have been leveled against you. There have been interviews conducted by Papa and Arabambi himself accusing you of all of this. I mean, what do you make of this allegation, and how do you think it has affected the image of your party?
Well, it has not detracted from the image of the party. Today, all Nigerians see Labour Party under my leadership as the best thing that would have ever happened to democracy in Nigeria. Well, no signature of any of those candidates was forged. Splendor Oko came to my office, and I hope you'll be patient to listen to this.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Came to my office with the former youth leader, Aslem, and pleaded to be given roles to play in the party. It was on the basis of that I made state chairman of the state, because at that time, we had no party chairman in the state. And it was very close to governorship election. When it was time for governorship election, we instructed him to participate in primaries and be a placeholder in the election, because we're very sure that other people were coming to run for that office. And that was the understanding. I went ahead, participated in it, and his forms were submitted. When it was time for substitution, he filled out the withdrawal form in the office. He was subsequently withdrawn. A few days later, he came back with someone else and said that was the person he wanted to be, and the party disagreed with him. And that was how he left and said he was going to destroy the party, and wrote petitions and all of that. Which the police have exonerated us very clearly. The report of the police is obvious that they have said it clearly that those signatures were not forged. But in my usual way, it wasn't a matter I needed to join issues because the facts are clear. These people have also alleged that they are arrested and this and that. But nothing has happened. The police report is clear. In due time, I will make it available to members of the public. If you go and find out from the police, they will make it very clear. So those signatures were not forged; they were their signature, and they are only trying to gain traction in the media. And so, for me, those are not issues I want to bother myself about.
Okay,
we have dealt with it and have sufficiently put in hands. It's normal for politicians who have lost out to come out with all kinds of story and say all kinds of things. And it's not peculiar to the party. PDP, APC, political parties have their own. Once people disagree with some of the decisions you have taken, they go about to say all kinds of things. And I'm sure that those of you in the leadership are very used to it. So I'm not bothered about those things.
Right. Yeah. Comrade Abure. Yes. Comrade Abure, let me bring in one of our panelists, because we have in-house panelists here as well. Barrister Ogunlola. Professor Remi Ayede of the University of Ibadan is also joining us virtually from Kenya. So let's start with Barrister. He wants to give his reaction to some of the things you've talked about, and also ask you his own question as well. Barrister.
Yes, my brother.
I have the privilege to ask questions.
Yes.
You will.
My brother, you are welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Now, let me start from the distressing episode that unfolded in Imo State with the assault on the leader of the Nigeria Labour Congress. We heard allegations of the NLC leadership playing politics rather than strictly labor issues by the APC leadership in that state. Now, I am filled with obfuscation, confusion, as a matter of fact, for a reason. And the reason is this. In British politics, an affiliated trade union is one that is linked to the Labour Party. The party was created by the trade unions and socialist societies in 1900 as the Labour Representation Committee, and the unions have retained close institutions with, the political party. So the question I am asking is the Labour Party in Nigeria different from the UK Labour Party in terms of its involvement in politics or otherwise?
Well, let me start by seriously appreciating you for that question and bringing my attention to the very foundation of the Labour Party and its relationship with the unions. I must state here categorically, I must condemn here categorically the attack on our President Joe Ajaero in Imo State. You recall that Joe Ajaero has been a subject of attack for the past few months. Recently, fire caught his house in Lagos and his house was burned to ashes. And it was alleged that it was related to politics and stand on issues that has to do with.
Oh, Comrade Abure, can you hear us? We seem to have lost.
Very solid attack.
Okay. So, Comrade, I think we lost you for a bit there. We lost you for a minute. Yes, go ahead.
I'm here.
Yes.
So I was saying that I joined other Nigerians to condemn the serious attack on Joe Ajaero, the president of the NLC. And I'm saying that he has been under attack for the past few months. At least not the first time he will be attacked. Recently, his house was burned down, and people related it to his stand on national issues of governance, workers' welfare, and the rest of them. And today, he's again being attacked in it. But having said this and condemned that, the analysis of Prof is right. Labour Party all over the world has its roots, has its leaning towards the labor unions. And Labour Party in Nigeria is not different. It's not different from Labour Party all over the world.
Comrade, we need to take a quick commercial break. Comrade, we need to take a quick commercial break right now. Just hold that thought, sir. Hold that thought. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll continue with you after this break. The podium will be back in a moment. Don't go away.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Power all sachet, 100 naira. I said power all sachet, 100 naira. It good for food, it good for your pocket. 100 naira. Mama, papa, power all don't go. 100 naira. Power oil, yeah. 100 naira. My choice for you. Power oil is there for you. 100 naira.
Buy your Power Oil 45 ml sachet at 100 naira only.
Brother, sister, papa, mama, it don't reach your turn to become house owner for 30 by 30 promo sales for this Ember months. Everton Realties Limited don't come at 30% discount fiam on top the amount where we they sell our landy for anybody we make payment one time plus include 20% discount for people we want to pay small. You go carry plenty gift to go home to celebrate Christmas and New Year like one big cow, chicken, turkey, bag of rice, granite oil plus include different hampers
house where you go take chocolate. Oya na for Odumachi come make payment for any of our land for United Estate Phase 1, United Estate Phase 2 and Vintage Court was include Brooklyn Royal Court where all of them dey for Ido Ologweru Ibadan and Edersville Garden where they Ijayi Road Moniya Ibadan. Oya now come to we office. Everton Realties Limited where they for number 5 Adekunle Fajuyi Road, Dugbe Ibadan. 0704-100-5004 0704-100-5004. Terms and conditions dey.
Kí lọkùnrin ṣe tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ fà lọ́lọ́pàá lọ́wọ́ kẹ́ má bàa dáràn.
Fóònù tí mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ rà ní screen rẹ̀ ń ṣiṣẹ́ kíṣẹ́ fún rẹ̀ ló tẹ nọ́mbà ìyàwó wọn. Bí a bá ń sọ fún yín ò ní gbọ́. Lóòótọ́ ni ilé ìtajà fóònù pọ̀ rẹ́kẹrẹ́kẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ṣé gbogbo wọn náà ló ta ojúlówó. Ilé ìtajà iShop gadget tí mo lè fògbọ́ ẹ̀gbárí tọrọ bá dọ̀rọ̀ kára iPhones, Android, laptop ìgbàlódé tí mú iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ yá kankan. Kódà wọ́n ta accessories lóníranran tó fi mọ́ àwọn èlò ilé mìíràn. Gbogbo ọjà tí wọ́n tà pátá ni wọ́n gba san díẹ̀díẹ̀ lórí wọn pẹ̀lú àjọṣọyépọ̀. Kódà báyìí bá ti ra ọjà lọ́dọ̀ wọn lẹ́tùn máa jẹ̀bùn. Tó bá wá fẹ́ kí páńkì tó gbé dání bá ọkọ̀ ìyàwó sójà lẹ́yìn èyí. Yára mórílé iShop gadget tó wà ní iShop building lẹ́yìn Lagos Ìkòròdú garage Fanáwọlé Àbáyọ̀mí road Ìwó road Ìbàdàn tàbí kí o pe ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn 09014579517. iShop gadget gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ lójúlówó lẹ́ ó bá lọ́dọ̀ wọn.
Béèyàn bá rí ìdúnàdúrà tó dàbí ìfà inú ẹni á dùn bí ìgbà tá a rówó ìlápò 32 FM tún gbèdé o. Polówó ọjà rẹ láwọn ojúpọ̀ ayélujára 32 FM pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dínwó tó dùn mọ́ni dọ́kàn. Ìfẹ́ tá a ní sí yín àti okòwò yín ló bí àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà yìí. O lè polówó ọjà, iṣẹ́ àbí okòwò rẹ láwọn ojúpọ̀ ayélujára 32 FM gbogbo pẹ̀lú ẹgbẹ̀rún 5 náírà péré 5,000 naira only. Láti jẹmu láǹfààní aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ yìí pè tàbí kí o ti àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ sí Tóminsìn lórí 0703 476 7684 Bọ́láńlé 0810 0672518. Àǹfààní yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kọkànlá sí ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2023.
Ìyanu wá ṣẹlẹ̀ o.
Lótìtọ́ àti lódodo pẹ̀lú Ọlọ́run ohun gbogbo ní ṣíṣe láti wá bú àjàgà èṣù kó o sì bọ́ sínú ọlá inú ìsìn agbára power service tí máa wáyé ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìsinmi Sunday nínú ìjọ Cathedral of Jesus Kingdom Evangelical Ministry lábẹ́ iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run alààyè Apostle Adérẹ̀mí Adélékè ti Sunday yìí á tún lárinrin jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ìwọ ni kó o má gbẹ̀yìn níbi tí Olúwa Ọlọ́run alààyè ti ń fàṣẹ dáhùn sọ̀rọ̀ onípòjìpò látàgò 8 àárọ̀ ní Cathedral of Jesus Kingdom Evangelical Ministry tó wà ní Baálẹ̀ Adétòkun Street off Ológun Ẹ̀rú Èrúwà Road Ẹlẹ́yẹlé area Ìbàdàn. Ọ̀pọ̀ onípòjìpò tó darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ló ti ń kọrin ọpẹ́ ní Cathedral of Jesus Kingdom Evangelical Ministry. Fún àlàyé tàbí ẹ̀bì àdúrà ẹ máa pè 0806-224-0321. Olùgbàlejò Apostle David Adérẹ̀mí Adélékè ló ní tó o bá lè wá ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ yóò dayọ̀ lórúkọ Jésù.
ẹni tó fẹ́ ní mọ̀kúmọ̀ kó lè tó jẹ Adékúnlé Ajásin University Ìbàdàn campus tó gún wàsímù Fúlàní Hun College of Education Ìbàdàn Lagos Express Road ọ̀rẹ́ méjì axis Ìbàdàn lọ ní mọ̀kúmọ̀ ńbẹ kó o má bàa dínísẹ́ olóṣèlú sáìtù ẹ̀kọ́ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ti ń gba fọ́ọ̀mù lọ enroll irúfẹ́ courses tó bá wù ọ́ ní kó yàn tó gba sabukéṣà àgùnbánirọ̀ lẹ́yìn àṣeyọrí English language political science accounting economics computer science biology health human kinetics social studies religious studies àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ rípo ní 5 credit tó ní math and English nínú Mondays to Fridays lẹ́kọ́ ìmọ̀ ìparí sẹ́ni tàwọn tó wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ Saturdays and Sundays AAUA management ńlọ́lù lóńdẹ̀ gbà.
Postgraduate diploma PGD in education ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí ní Fúlàní College of Education in affiliation with Adékúnlé Ajásin University Akungba Àkókò Ondo State.
Platform ní Eléwùrà Community Grammar School number 1 Baálẹ̀ Eléwùrà Street Eléwùrà Challenge nìbàdàn 5,000 ní fọ́ọ̀mù 40,000 ní school fees fún semester kan 07031551555 tàbí www.aauaibadancampus.com.
Sọ pé ìwọ ló kàn láti kọ́lé ayọ̀.
Ẹgbẹ́ tí ní ìwà
bẹ́ẹ̀ni àfi tó bá kópa nínú ìfà tuntun Ìrẹ́mídé Ember Super Promo àrà ọ̀tọ̀ tuntun láti iléeṣẹ́ Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited ẹ̀dínwó rẹpẹtẹ láìlábùyẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù November títí di ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù December 2023 èrò wìtì láwọn estate wa Achievers Estate Ìdóńbàdàn 800,000 naira nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ Kings Park Estate Mọ́níyà 1.4 million naira lẹ́ra lẹ́ńbẹ̀ Pretoria Park and Garden Mọ́níyà Ìbàdàn 600,000 naira nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ yẹn Riobos Park and Garden Elékùrú Mọ́níyà Ìbàdàn 800,000 naira nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ tó fi mọ́ Sun City Estate alábàtà mọ́níyà 1.5 million naira pé nílẹ̀ ẹbẹ̀ yẹn oríṣiríṣi ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan ẹ̀bùn fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá ralẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa pàápàá jùlọ ẹni tó bá gbé tán lẹ́ẹ̀kan outright payments bíi microwave oven báàgì ráìsì kan àti òróró 5 litre tó fi mọ́ chicken àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀bùn gbàmábínú tà lè kà tán ẹ yọjú sí Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited lẹ́bàá Àrẹ̀mú Block Industry àdójúkọ IITA ìdífàn mọ́níyà ńbàdàn 0814-094-2376 ìrẹ́mídé Ember Super Promo èmi lọ́kàn láti kọ́lé ayọ̀.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
In order to matter, matters of the state must matter to you.
If some people are crying that they are in darkness, they should go and hold those who vandalize the installation.
Let me say that the political crinkle.
Stay tuned to politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back, the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. We see have Comrade Julius ABURE, the chairman of Labour Party, joining us virtually this morning. Barrister Ogunlola is also here with us, while Professor Remi Ayede of the University of Ibadan Political Science joins us virtually from Kenya. So before we went on that break, comrade, you were making, you were on this line of thought about responding to what Barrister asked you concerning Labour Party and NLC, the relationship between the two of them, because Hope Uzodinma is also accusing NLC of playing politics, Is it that NLC is the same as Labour Party to take away all of this perception that the NLC is being politicized?
Well, like the Prof explained, Labour Party all over the world has its roots with the labor unions. But they are, however, not the same. The structures are different. Their modus operandi are different. The objective are also different. Why it is the role of the NLC or the labor unions to protect the interests of their members, the Labour Party's interest and objective is to work in line with the philosophy and ideals of the labor unions in order to have an egalitarian society. It is to work in line with getting or enthroning a government that will bring better life for the people. And therefore, in as much as the origin of Labour Party is rooted with the labor unions, they are, however, not the same. They have their different structures, their modus operandi are different, and the objective are also different. And therefore, in Nigeria, for example, who also did mainly throwing up those sentiments in order to cover what he has done to Joe Ajay.
Okay. So
NLC is not partisan. NLC is not political. All the issues they have gone to canvass him has to do with workers' welfare. If a government is not paying salaries, it's not paying allowances and so on, and he's justifying it by saying that NLC has a relationship with labor, it has become political. You can decipher for yourself what is the truth.
Okay.
If he had paid workers' salary and meet his obligation to workers in the state, I'm sure that there won't be any agitation from that.
Right.
And in any case, Awolowo have said it very clearly. In fact, Awolowo, I hope you tolerate because I'm a student of Awolowo, who also said every person in Nigeria is a political animal. So if you live in Nigeria, we're saying that Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, of which NSC president is also, cannot hold a political thought or also express his views on issues.
So let me come in here. Chairman. What you have said now, as the Labour chairman, Labour Party chairman, you have told Nigerians that the Nigeria Labour Congress is precluded from playing politics.
I didn't get you clearly.
I said from your submission now, what you appear to be telling Nigerians is a confirmation of the fears expressed by the governor of Imo State that the Nigeria Labour Congress is precluded from playing politics. That is what you have said.
Well, as other citizens and workers, generally, they have a role to play.
That's why I said the Nigeria Labour Congress. The Nigeria Labour Congress is precluded from playing politics.
As an organization.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let me bring in Prof now. Prof is joining us virtually from Kenya. He's also INT'L's panelist. Prof?
Yes.
Prof, yes, okay. Morning. Good to have you again. So you've heard Comrade ABURE talk about different things. Your reaction to some of the things he said so far, to continue the conversation, Prof.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about the state of the Labour Party. You've asked him that question before quite clearly, and but he needs to tell us in very clear terms why all these shenanigans and conflicts have been so protracted within the Labour Party, and what implications do this have for their performance in these off-season elections?
Well, I've said it clearly before, and I will repeat it again, that democracy is a matter of choice. Who should belong to a political party is also a matter of choice. And if some persons who have been in the Labour Party have decided to toe a different line and work for other political parties, it will be difficult for us here to begin to insist that they must.
Sorry to cut in, comrade. The point I'm actually making is, what do you think will your party? What will be the performance of your party in this off-season election, given all these crises that it's going through?
No, it will definitely not have effect on our performance in the election. Definitely not. In Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo Forest, for instance, we are on with our campaigns, and I can assure you that Labour Party in Imo, for instance, is among those Nigerians are expecting will win the election. Nigerians know the truth. They know who are in Labour Party and what the party stands for. And so it has no implication at all.
In fact, what I perceive in the build-up to the election is that after the court judgment, the excitement and activism that we experienced in the build-up to the 23 election has in fact fizzled out. So why do you still believe that Labour Party will be as strong as
the truth of the matter is that it's a natural thing that after a general election in this manner, generally, political activities go down. Political activism will definitely reduce because the president has been produced, National Assembly members have been produced, and therefore that excitement that goes with pre-election obviously will go down, and that's what has played out. So it's not peculiar to Labour Party where activities generally in politics have reduced. Obviously, people have gone back to their jobs. People are now more focused on facing the reality on the ground. You will agree with me that since the emergence of this government, life is more difficult for the people. Fuel today, you know the amount, and so on. And therefore, people are going about their business.
Comrade, I like the fact that you mentioned the current situation of things, and I also like the fact that Prof is in Kenya. I remember after the Kenyan elections that William Ruto won, he announced different policies, taxes, were raised. There was introduction of fuel tax as well. And all remember the kind of opposition that Raila Odinga played. In fact, they put the government on the toes to the extent that to the extent that the president William Ruto had to call for dialogue. There were demonstration everywhere, civil disobedience, calling on the government that you cannot introduce this kind of taxes, remove subsidy at this point. So people are saying that, look, that is the way to show opposition as a political party that is serious about driving this democracy. That it's not just about people going back to their business. We have to see your party at the forefront of criticizing government and suggesting solutions to this. And we have not seen that. Just the way we saw in Kenya. I mean, Odinga was vibrant with the way he opposed the government at the time. Even after losing the election up to the Supreme Court level, he started doing it to the extent that William Ruto had to call for dialogue in that country at the time.
Just to add to what Toba said. Yes. You know also that the NLC has called for strikes multiple times. Yes. At the end of the day, they call it off. I mean, they have not demonstrated that power, that aliveness. That this is a labor center that can call the government to account. So how do you think they'll be able to mobilize people for your party?
Well, I won't be here to speak for the Nigerian Labour Congress, why they have consistently called for strike and other actions and then call it off. I won't be able to speak on that authoritatively. I think the NSC president should be able to speak on that, where the opportunity arises. But I must state here very clearly that the Supreme Court judgment was just given less than 3 weeks ago. I can assure Nigerians and every person that we are going to see a formidable and solid opposition. Okay. We wanted to be patient to see the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment. And now it's clear. They have made an announcement, and we have hit the ground, and we are going to see a lot of action showing and demonstrating a solid and parallel opposition.
Okay, so let me go back to what was asked earlier about a relationship between Labour Party and the movement of workers, in different countries. I mean, I've followed up on Labour Party in the UK for quite a while now, from the days of Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, Ed Miliband, Chuka Umunna, Jeremy Corbyn, Keir Starmer as well. And what I can say is that you can see the alignment of the ideology with that of the party as well. But in this case, we saw Peter Obi, who was the running mate of Atiku Abubakar in 2019. Atiku Abubakar, who many people say is a conservative, is a capitalist, if you like. He was a running mate, campaigned with him at the time in 2019. And then few months to the election in 2023, he suddenly jumped ship to the Socialist Party, that is Labour Party, that has his outlook for workers and for the people. So isn't Peter Obi's ideals antithetical to what the Labour Party stands for in the context of real ideological politics, just where we see in the UK, for instance, and even in Australia as well, where they have Labour Party being vibrant as a party that emanated from the union. So is his ideals not antithetical to what the party stands for?
I think that Peter Obi's movement to PDP was the error. It is now Peter have found his home. Oh. If you follow the trajectory of Peter Obi very strongly, he started from ABURE, and you saw his performance in ABURE, which can be said to be a progressive party even at that time. And today, he left PDP to join us, obviously because he couldn't realize his aspirations, his ideological base with the PDP. And I'm sure that today, Peter Obi has found his home, and his behavior, his style of governance, his thinking, his relationship with people, his attitude, and ideology over the years is in line with the Labour Party philosophy and idea. And if you follow our campaign very closely, you see that it is in tandem and in line with the Labour Party philosophy and ideology. For instance, Peter Obi has been an advocate of moving the country from consumption to production. And for me, this is the very basis of Labour Union itself, and even the Labour Party as a party. And therefore, Peter's behavior, his characteristics, his antecedents is in line with the philosophy and ideology of Labour Party.
Okay.
And I'm very sure that Peter, right now, has found a home and will remain in that home.
Okay.
I will continue to agitate till we have a better country and a better nation.
So he journeyed everywhere like an average Nigerian politician before finding his home. Okay, but you talked about his ideals being in line with that of Labour Party now. We also know that in the build-up to that election, what some people refer to as the top 3 candidates talked about subsidy. In fact, they said it's a fraud, right? But, for the NLC, for Labour movement generally, they feel like the role of government is to make life easy for the people, that there's nothing wrong with providing subsidy. Peter Obi himself said that subsidy was a fraud. In fact, he said he would remove it. Maybe the way he would have removed it would have been different. Who knows? I mean, it's a matter of ifs and buts now. But the point is that he campaigned that he was going to remove it as well. So isn't that a neoliberal policy that goes, again, contradictory to what Labour Party is supposed to stand for, pro-people policy? Because people say free subsidy removal is usually recommended by the Bretton Woods institution like the IMF and the World Bank. But he also said he would remove it. Is that not anti-people as well?
Well, I like the Constitution provides that the resources of the country must be used to provide maximum welfare and benefits to the people of the country. We hold that very strongly, and people equally holds that very, very strong. It is also no doubt that the oil subsidy was fraudulent, and even the government themselves have come out to say so. Peter Obi's removal. Let me put the questions in this. Let me put it in this manner. If refineries are working, more refineries are built, and petroleum products are refined here and distributed for local consumption, do you need subsidy? Is subsidy not removed? So the issue here is it's a matter of approach and a matter of how to people, which you rightly have addressed. You've answered the question very, very clearly. You could remove subsidy and still make it available to Nigerians at even a lesser cost. I mean, why are we talking about subsidy? We're talking about subsidy because it is imported, all the attendant cost is associated with it, and so on and so forth. And it is even paradoxical, it is ironical that we export crude oil and import petroleum product at a higher amount. It is paradoxical, it is ironical, it's unacceptable. And I think that it is the methodology and approach towards the removal of subsidy that makes all the difference. If Peter Obi has said, yes, he's going to remove subsidy, this didn't mean that the price it will be sold to Nigerians would have been higher. It may have even been lower if we do what we need to. So I think what is important here, like you rightly said, has to do with the methodology and the way of doing it.
Okay, let me bring in Barrister now. Barrister.
Yes, Chairman, I actually have 2 questions for you. The first one, please permit me, because I appear to be very, very friendly with Imo State. My first question related to Imo, and the second one is also going to Imo. Now, there are 3 blocks that represent the 3 senatorial districts in the state. That is Olu, Owerri, and Okigwe zones, those senatorial districts. And I think there is a gentleman agreement, in the state that there should be rotation, between those 3 senatorial districts in producing governors. But we know that we have had governors from Okigwe, we have had from Olu. Ihedioha, who was to have emerged from the Owerri zone, we all know what happened following the Supreme Court judgment. Uzodinma is also from Olu zone. Now, Achonu, who is your Labour Party representative in the election. Where is he from in the scheme of things? And do you think he would have, that upper hand in this election? That's the number one. The one I am going to ask you from Kogi State concerns your candidate, Adejo Okeme. I know that the Labour Party performed excellently well in Kogi State during the 2023 presidential polls. But your candidate is considered a lightweight there. Do you think he can, repeat the feat that you people achieved during the presidential election? Those are my two questions.
Well, let me appreciate you for that question. I want to say here very clearly that the people of Imo State are looking for an alternative to focus on Lima, given the circumstances of the state, given the performance of the current governor, and so on and so forth. And as we speak today, I must state clearly that Atan Atonu is the only man that stands out in terms of that stands out among the top 3 candidates in Imo State. Obviously, the gentleman's agreement of rotation has been jettisoned over time. And because it has been jettisoned, I'm not sure that it will be a major determinant in the election. Today, people are looking at an alternative. People are looking at who has what it takes to be able to deal with issues of insecurity, and several other governance issues that is affecting Imo State. More importantly, these days people look at performance. I agree with you perfectly that rotation within the senatorial districts is also important. But in Imo State, as it stands today, that principle of rotation has jettisoned, and the circumstances of the state is such that people are looking for an alternative. And so, to that extent, I believe very strongly that the party will do very well in Imo State. I'm sure that people in the rotation will not be a major determinant in the Imo election. I'm not sure it will have a major effect in who becomes the next governor of Imo State. Like you said about Kogi, well, it may be your perception. Perception. People have different perception as to how they see issues. From your point of view, you think that Adejo is a lightweight, but we look at it differently. We see him as a young man, vibrant, who has the capacity, have what it takes to be able to change governance in Kogi State. I would believe that he will do very well in today's election. I'm sure that people vote for him, members. And therefore, I will admonish that we are patient. Let's see what the result of today's election before we begin to discuss the part who is a lightweight and who is not a lightweight. In Nigeria, we all give preference to, we assess ourselves, assess our value with money, with resources people have, and a whole lot of issues. And I think that this is where part of our problems also are. We also need to change our orientation, our value system, and the way we look at issues generally. I think that these two will go a long way in helping the country, help our leaders to have good leadership. I don't think that we should assess people by the amount of money they have and so on and so forth in order to assess them as lightweight and so on.
Right.
So these are my thoughts. I want to appreciate Prof very profoundly for.
Yes. So before I bring...
You are mistaking me for Prof.
Is barrister. This Prof is in Kenya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
Although you know that my head and Prof's head work in unison. We are united.
Okay, so before I go to Prof now, Comrade, just a quick follow-up to what Barrister asked you about Imo and Kogi. I'm going to Bayelsa now, and I remember watching your candidate, Udengs, is a member of the Ijo Youth Council. He was on this popular television station. Apart from what he said about disciplining members of his council, he also talked about how the PDP in that state, according to him now, had gone to offer 100 million naira to members of the Labour Party in the state. He says he feels like he's on his own going to the field in that election today. And that's something that sort of came up in different states as well in the 2023 election. Some candidates felt like the national body of Labour were not supporting. I remember your candidate here in your state, Taufik Akinwale, talked about him not being supported. The same thing is happening in Bayelsa as well. He said he feels like he's on his own, that those in the party in the state are sort of collapsed their structure. Yes, let me use the word politicians normally use. Collapsed their structure for the PDP after being offered 100 million. So what is your plan in terms of making sure that all your structure in different states align with the interests of a national body, so as to not see where a situation where a party comes in and offers you money to collapse your structure?
Well, let me appreciate you for the way you concluded the question. How do we align the states to fall in line with the thinking, the belief of the national? I want to appreciate you for putting the record straight. I watch in parts the candidate of the party in Bayelsa, where he even said part of the money, the 100 million collected, sent to national. I must state here categorically that nobody sent any money to any person at national level. We must state that categorically. It is not in our character to betray our candidates. We stand by our candidates through thick and thin, defend them, campaign for them, and work very, very closely with them. I'm sure that you saw that the support we give to Peter Obi, and across the state where we have very strong, serious candidates. In Bayelsa, we have always supported candidates. Even yesterday, it's not my duty here to say the kind of support that we give to the candidate from here. We've always supported you. But this is not to say, however, that we don't have one or two bad eggs within the structure of the party. As you know, the party actually came fully to limelight after Peter Obi joined the party. So it was like using what we have to get to where we want to be. I want to believe that moving forward, we'll be able to bring in more credible people to the party. In the next couple of months, we are going to expand the party, carry out congresses and primaries, and I'm sure that we'll be able to get the right people to be in the right position. And whatever challenges we may have in the system, we'll be able to deal with it. The state chairman and a few of them have come out to also deny this, but like we said, always give support to the candidate, and I can assure you that we'll continue to do that. There are bad eggs in our system. We work very hard to see that we deal with it. Right. No system is actually perfect. Even among the 12 disciples, you still had Judah. So it's so in all systems. Even in the PPC, also have one way or the other, where you can have one, two, go the other way. So we are dealing with all of this, and I can assure you, assure Nigerians, that moving forward, we are going to continue to perfect our system and make sure that Nigeria, we have Labour Party as an alternative political party.
All right.
It can always look out.
So, Comrade, we'll take a quick break now. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll go to Prof as well to get his thought on some of the issues that have been raised so far. We'll be back in a moment on the podium. Don't go away.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Mọ́mì wa, kí ló ń jẹ́ kí tí oní ṣokoléètì tẹ́ ẹ kò rí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀? Ṣé yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara mílìkì ni tàbí yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ látara wàrà? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé ìdá 20 tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mílìkì ló ń bẹ nínú Milo Active Go? Milo, ó kún láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Getting a good deal is like finding money in your pocket when you need it the most. Sweet. You know that feeling, right? A good deal you don't want to miss this Ember period is 32FM's digital sales promo. Our love for you and your business has led us to create this chance for you to advertise on any of our social media platforms for 5,000 Naira only. To grab this offer, reach out to us via these numbers 0703 476 7684 or 0810 067 2518. This offer is valid from November 1st to 31st December 2023. So, let's make this moolah.
Children, are you ready to experience the best Santa party of the year? 32FM Laughter Santa is back with more goodies than you can count. 23 days of fun, games, and gifts with 32FM's Laughter Santa from the 2nd of December to the 24th of December 2023. Venue Bond Mall, MKO Abiola Way, Ring Road, opposite Total Filling Station, Ibadan. Gate fee still 2,000 Naira only. Time 10 a.m. daily. For sponsorship and inquiries, call Sumbo on 0908 738279 or OI on 0813 125 1915. Beyond the Laughter Park from Santa, there's also more on the Laughter Santa Raffle Show every day from 4:10 to 5 p.m. where every caller is a winner of super gifts like plots of land, tiles, school fees, bags of rice, electronic gadgets, and lots more. Laughter Santa is proudly supported by Alleluia Oil, Right Food, Delight Chin Chin, Danabid Homes and Properties, RC Cola, Tiwa the Wise Monkey, Letty G Properties, Boom Drinks, iShow Gadgets, La Casera, Crunchy Cheese Balls, and Fan Milk. Don't miss out on 32FM's Laughter Santa 2023. See you there.
You're listening to 32FM 94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32FM 94.9. Remember, we're live on Facebook. You can watch us there at 32FM 949 Ibadan. You can also drop your comment as you're watching us. Later on, we'll be opening the phone lines for you to join. Comrade Julius ABURE is still with us on the show this morning, joining us virtually, assessing the situation of the country, this political party, and where do they go from, how things panned out for them in the 2023 election. So let me quickly go to Prof now. Professor Ayede, live from Kenya. Prof, before you ask Comrade ABURE's question, I just want to get your thoughts, from the point of view of a political scientist regarding why opposition parties did not really how do I say it now, successfully play that role of opposition in Africa. I know there is Julius Malema of the EFF in South Africa, Nelson Chamisa of the CDC in Zimbabwe, Usman Sonko in Senegal. But most of them are either arrested, there's a heavy clampdown on them. Bobby Wine, the singer in Uganda as well, going up against the president, what's his name now? This Ugandan man. His name escapes me. But anyway, Museveni. Yes, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. So anyway, what's your assessment from an expert point of view as to why opposition political parties do not seem to make headway in their attempt to, take power or put government on their toes in Africa?
I think there are two basic reasons. The first is the predominance of the presidential system. And when you look at the way the presidential system is constituted, there's actually no official opposition. And because of that, it's difficult for opposition parties to be strong. Because, again, of the electoral system in the presidential form of government, the first past the poll system is what we use. So once a party wins, what you find is people crossing and going to the dominant or the ruling party. So the supposedly opposition party is often swallowed up or rendered ineffective because they don't have access to resources. The second reason is that because you don't have an official opposition in presidential system, and those parties don't have resources, they are easily clamped down by the authoritarian tendencies of presidents who behave like kings. What has happened in some of the places that you find these oppositions making a headway is because there's a modification of the presidential system. You know, the South African system is it's a hybrid system. It's not your typical kind of presidential system. So they have actually a parliamentary system where they recognize parliamentary opposition. Now, what has also happened in Kenya is that they've eventually worked out through negotiation the office of the opposition leader. And so some kind of respect and recognition is accorded Raila and his party. So because of that, they've consolidated that even in the current negotiation that is going on within the country. So you find that where there's negotiation around having a strong party that is not in government but behaves like a shadow government, then you have political parties being able to play that role. And that's why we are looking forward to what's going to happen in 2027 concerning the Labour Party and the PDP, when either the one party ascends to the central government or the APC consolidates its power, and you see much more candidates cross-carpeting to APC. So we look forward to a situation where we'll be able to maintain the current diversity in Parliament. And that is why the WISE panel recommended the use of proportional representation in legislative elections, so that we can have a situation where we continue to have parties in government. So that if you win a number of votes, you can get candidates according to the proportion of votes that you win in your party. Not that once you don't win the majority, you don't have anything, you just go home empty-handed.
So winner takes all, we should deviate from it. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely, for parliamentary elections. For legislative elections.
Okay, let me go to Barrister.
That's what the WISE panel recommends.
Yes, recommend. Let me go to Barrister.
And then, of course, we can also go the way of Kenya by officially creating a recognition for an opposition party, maybe the next party after the winner of the election. Okay. That's a constitutional matter also.
Okay. So let me go to Barrister. Afterwards, we'll open the phone lines to get reactions of people. Remember, you can drop a comment on Facebook as well, 32FM 949 Ibadan. You can also watch us live there. So, Barrister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'm not the only one making the mistake.
Now, I want to ask you this question. You know, very sadly, in our climb, the courts, rather than the people, appear to be the final determinant of our rulers. Now, following your party's experiences in the presidential election, particularly at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court, where you were unable to prove your case, have you put in place a machinery not only for the elections, but also for the possibility of election petitions and the requirements of law for proof, which was your bane at the PEPT and the Supreme Court in the last elections?
I didn't get the last part of your question. The line was interrupted.
Oh, okay. I said in Nigeria, it appears it is the courts that elect that choose our leaders for us. So I am asking that following the experiences of your party at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court, where your party was unable to prove its case, have you put in place a machinery not only for the elections, but also for the possibility of election petitions and the requirements of law for proof, which was
you are talking about Kogi in relation to Kogi and Bayelsa?
Yes, in relation to Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi that are coming up. You know, because, you know, the Yorubas will say, Moja Mosalafi, Mo Akinkanju Loju Ogun. You know, you must know.
I'm not sure he understands that. I'm not sure he understands that.
He's a Lagos man, he understands. He will understand
the context in which he has brought in the Yoruba.
So, because
I'll be able to.
You know, what we have seen is, with the experiences we're having in Nigeria, you don't only make provisions for election or prepare for elections. You must as well prepare for election petitions, that may follow. So that's the question.
Yes, you see, the truth of it, what has happened to us in Nigeria is most unfortunate, and the behavior of our court recently is absolutely worrisome. In the election petition tribunal and so on, it's not as if we didn't even prove the case. It's just that the evidences adduced were excluded. They were not even treated. And therefore, it was not examined. It was not, they were all excluded. So, learning from that, what we have done in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo especially now, is to ensure that we have all our results from the polling units, and then we have equally put a legal team together that will start working ahead of time in order to be able to go to court if eventually the unexpected happens, or even in our own defense, because whether you win or you lose, they will all end up in litigation. So we have taken some steps, but I must say that there's no denying the fact that moving forward as a country, we need a comprehensive review of our electoral system.
Right.
We need a review of the Constitution, and so on and so on. In fact, most of the recommendations made by the Waste report, I think, have continued to play out as we move on with our electoral system. And therefore, for me, beyond just Imo, Bayelsa, Kogi, I must say categorically here that Labour Party is going to champion electoral reform in Nigeria. It is only when we are able to do this that we'll be able to throw up leaders that truly and really work for the people. And will be, it is only then having the people actually having a say in who leads them. Like you rightly observed today, the judiciary throws up leaders, they can disqualify, they can do and undo in our electoral process, undermining the yearning and aspirations of the people. So within the limit of our resources arising from our experiences in the 2023 general election, we have put up a legal team together, and I'm sure that we have very strong agents who will be able to oblige us with the election results.
Okay, let's open the phone lines now. 070-55-000-949, 070-55-000-949, 08097-000-949. Those are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I'm there from US.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been looking for this kind of opportunity. I was thinking that we'll spend it on social media. Like to get to Peter Obi and Rabbi Kwankwaso. You know what I mean? I want to appreciate our Papa. Please give me this time, I beg. Our Papa Abure. God bless him. That election, you will see that they tried. Nigerians did not vote for the party who have the government today, but because of the elections were splitted, some people were able to utilize that to find themselves in the power. My brothers, in that studio, Nigerians are too, the hardship now is too notorious. Now this is the solution. See, the solution to the country for the high of these people, we know it, but grief and personal is not the need to come to today. I want to forget to Chief Abure. if we don't want to, I also tell my people, if we allow these people to sabotage the country and succeed, your children will ask you, what did our daddy do? I will say they were playing, it must be made, it must be. Now this is bottom line. If you look at it,
okay. Okay. 070-5500-949.
We're having problems
949. Yes.
With the line.
We couldn't hear you clearly.
Let
me take this. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. I was listening to your guest.
Your name, sir?
He said court elect our leaders. Which of the leaders did have court elect today? Because INEC declares somebody winner. You are misleading people that court elected because God did not grant some spurious requests. That election, aside from 1993, there is no better election than this last election. Aside from 1993, hope.
Okay, well.
So this man in the guest you have always been misleading people.
All right.
Saying that.
So you disagree?
You are just confusing people.
So you disagree with him?
Because court did not declare anybody. It is the INEC that declared the winner.
Okay.
And he won. You went to court. You did not prove case. So what would you expect court to do?
Right.
So he should tell us how court elect. Peter Obi was not declared by INEC as the governor in Anambra. It was court that put him there.
Right.
Was it wrong for court to have put him?
You've made your point. Thank you.
Let me.
I think you react. You react to that. Hello.
Hello. But let me give my solution. And look at what the last one said now.
Your name, sir. Your name, sir. Your name, sir.
Are they from UI?
Okay.
To checkmate a repeat of that election, to guide against that kind of election that somebody says is the best now. You know solution. The solution is if Peter Obi can leave Labour Party for the party government because they have crippled it. If they can leave the party for them and come to PDP and let UK remain in that APC because it's already in APC and go and beg the part of government to PDP, that ticket will be a proper ticket. We will think APC that they will never even be in the local government in Nigeria. But if they do that, that's how the best for today.
Okay, thank you.
Please, permit me to quickly make this clarification for the caller before the last.
Yes.
You see, don't misconstrue what we say here. What we were actually trying to say is, there's a difference between conducting election, the results of elections being announced, and everybody goes home happy, But for some time, we have not been getting that. Most elections finally end up in the election petition tribunal.
Doesn't that also speak to the nature of our politicians
exactly,
that they always want to challenge the process?
That's why it is not that the courts elected, the eventual winners. What we're saying is it would have been much better if our politicians are better disciplined, people who are defeated accept defeat, magnanimously, and those who win, of course. So that's what we're saying. Okay. We're not saying that the courts are electing them. What we are saying is it doesn't speak too well that every election must end in
litigation.
In litigation.
Okay, hello. Hello? Please move away from your radio. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, morning.
Oh.
070-5500-949. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Joseph is my name.
Okay.
From Challenge.
Right.
I've been listening. In Nigeria, the system is Nigeria. It's not INEC. It's not even the court. Because I've been watching election, at least in this dispensation of from Obasanjo, nobody has won election. And the other person agree easily. And what somebody called, that they say court elect, the court was set up to hear people dispute. And if the court is not there, that means there will be anarchy. And I hate a situation where we condemn court even with a lawyer. I don't expect it because we discuss and the tribunals are not there. It will lead to anarchy. At least when you will do it anywhere now, see the type of high tension because we want to choose leader. Is this Tinubu and Obi again? So it's we, Nigeria, that we need to change the way we behave. Right. And this court must be there. I hate people, no matter what the court is. So I hate people about mounting court. Because without the court, it's anarchy. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
This is John Olariwa.
Welcome.
All right. I just want to make appeal. Can I say appeal or challenge the Labour chairman there? That you need to wake up and do the work of opposition. I could remember vividly when PDP was in power. The kind of opposition the APC did took them into the power today. So, to me, they are fumbling. Now, they are fumbling in government because what they are led the PDP for that time, they were even doing more than that now. But so we want Labour Party to wake up and do the work of opposition. Like the girls in the studio, our people in the studio rightly said about the opposition in Kenya. So we want that kind of opposition too in Nigeria. That's for that one. And then for the court, the saga or not, to me, the role of the court in Nigeria politics, to me, is getting somehow. Look at the election that happened in Imo State that took number 4 to number 1. Can we say that kind of judgment did not cause the violence in that state? Today, the violence is still there because of that judgment. So I don't know why somebody will be saying that court is there to settle the issue. But sometimes court always putting the violence into the thing. And we need to be very careful. The politicians rather need to be very careful. But I don't believe that Nigeria politicians is not even ready to wake up and do the needful. Because all they were looking for now is magu. That is why they were leading to the court. They are not ready to have a fair and free election. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Morning. Morning, sir.
This is another work again from Nevada.
Welcome.
Please, as regards the last caller's statement, I want our lawyer in the house, Barrister Yomi Okunola, to one of these days come on the air to clear some of the things that we, the populace, we don't know, the unlearned ones, as they do call us. As regards the Imo last dispensation election, where the current governor he came first, but he was the one that the Supreme Court affirmed to be the elected governor of the state. Please, the issue surrounding the matter, kindly tell Mr. Yomi Okunola one of these days to dwell on it purposely. May God help us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure Barrister is listening already. All right. Hello.
Hello.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, I already interrupt inside this program today. Someone called.
Your name, sir. Your name, sir.
Benga Ike from Omajaba from Samonda.
Okay, go ahead.
Someone called and the person, everybody have your own opinion. At the several times they take this Nigeria, our face black. Let you confine that you should tell your opinion. Okay, that person is calling say that person there in the studio, you know the thing he's talking. That one, say that person knows the thing he's talking. Is it there okay this time around? Something is person is telling you to correct you. I say from our Obasanjo this regime makes sense. Does it make sense to talk to another leader like that? Say that person don't know that person. I don't know. It's not anything he's talking about.
Okay.
That's I just want to.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As rightly said, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, as rightly said. So let me go back to Comrade Abure now. Two questions for you. The first one is, I know your presidential candidate in last election, Mr. Peter Obi, gave a World Press Conference. I was asked the same question about the purchase of vehicles. He criticized it, and then he was asked why he had not told members of his party that got elected on the platform of Labour Party in the House of Rep to reject the vehicle. And he said he asked them, and they told him that the car is meant for official purpose. And on his X handle yesterday, he put up a post criticizing the purchase of vehicles again. Some say, he's appearing to contradict himself. Is he condemning it, and in one way also defending members of his own party and saying that, it's official purpose. Since it's official purpose, we cannot criticize them. So that's number one. Shouldn't we see members of Labour Party being that pro-people platform upon which he got elected to make a statement at least, state a walkout, do something, show their solidarity to the people and say, we are not in favor of this purchase of SUVs. That's number one. Number two is the question of your plan. I remember watching Atiku Abubakar in one of his press conferences. He talked about Peter Obi being in a hurry, that he got scared because of the plans by some governors in the PDP. He quickly left, and if he had stayed, he had a path towards Southeastern presidency. He would have made him his running mate. So are you looking towards reuniting Kwankwaso, Atiku Obi ahead of 2027 election, especially if you look at the reality of Nigerian politics, that you cannot unseat a ruling party with a divided house? So two things now.
Well, first, let me quickly refer you to the party's position on purchase of vehicle. It was very, very clear where we called on our members to reject it and to condemn it. We didn't mince words about it. And I'm sure it was along that line Peter Obi equally spoke. For the party, we are very categorical at our position, and our position was unambiguous. Our position is very, very unambiguous as to our stand. We are opposed to it.
So do you plan to discipline those who do not obey? Comrade, do you plan to discipline those who do not obey your stance? Because, there's party supremacy too.
That's not what I can immediately respond to. Labour Party runs a collective leadership. So it's a matter we interrogate and look at and then deal with it subsequently. I don't even know now if the vehicles already, but we'll watch and see, and then we take up the issues as they arise. So having said this, this brings me to the second leg of your question. 2027 is still very far. A lot of issues will still play out in politics, and therefore, for me, it's still too premature to be discussing 2027 at this stage. I agree that you must plan, you must work ahead of all elections, but I feel strongly that at this point in time, it is still very premature to discuss 2027 because a lot of issues will still play out. You may still have a lot of political realignment in polity, and several other issues may play out. The people may be more conscious, the people may rise to the occasion, and anything can happen between now and 2027. So, for me, while we plan as a party towards how to capture power in 2027, we will be patient to see how issues will play out.
Right. Let me go back to Barrister, as we wrap up. Barrister, and then we'll go to Prof. As we wrap up the show this morning. So, Barrister.
Yes, Chairman, there's still this feeling of despondency, in the land, especially following the last elections. Do you foresee a large turnout of people for the coming election, or rather the election that is ongoing right now, the Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi election? Do you foresee people coming out to exercise their franchise?
Well, obviously, what played out in the 2023 general election have no doubt affected the morale of people. So while I'm sure that obviously will affect the outcome of today's election. I'm sure that a lot of people got discouraged. A lot of people felt that vote did not count. Why would they come out to waste their time participating in an election where the result will not count. So obviously, it will definitely have effects.
Okay, Prof.
Okay, Prof, as a wrap up.
Yeah, I think we are looking forward to the elections as they are unfolding. And I think for those observing the election, it is no longer an election that will happen. It is already happening. So we look forward to how Labour Party turns out in these off-season elections.
Okay, thank you so much, Comrade Julius ABURE, for joining us. I think we can let you go here. Thank you for being a part of the show. Always a pleasure to have you.
I'm ready to
It's been a
stay with
pleasure.
you all day.
Thank you so much, comrade. Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you with us.
It's a pleasure having you. Okay.
It's a pleasure
It's a
to
pleasure.
be with you.
Thank you so much. So let's just quickly touch on updates in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa. Polling units have opened in Kogi. As at 9 a.m., the APC governorship candidate arrived at the polling unit to vote. I'm already seeing Dino Melayo on X, talking about plans of APC to disrupt voting in some polling units. Is this the kind of drama that we know Dino for, or these are some of the issues that we need to take seriously in this off-cycle election?
I've said it earlier that Dino Melayo is drama, and there will be drama in Kogi.
He's released a video already.
But you know something, Prof? There was a video I saw. I don't know, the authenticity though, but it appears to be gathering, some crowd. So the election in Kogi is really going to be interesting. The election is going to be really interesting. I think Nigerians should look out for a very, very exciting time, with the elections in Imo. Is going to be a keenly contested battle. The same is going to happen in Kogi State. For Bayelsa, that's the state with the least population. I don't know, because just about 1 million registered voters, and I foresee a possibility of a low turnout. Following the misfeelings that people had over the last election.
Wouldn't you be surprised if you saw a low turnout in Bayelsa? Because we've been talking about Imo, how workers are being owed. Bayelsa too, things are very bad there, regardless of the high allocation and 30% derivation they get from government.
Exactly.
Yes.
When you look at all the South states, I feel very sad. I feel very sad because I think the succeeding governments have not been giving the dividends of democracy to their people as they should. I mean, if we are going to have a Dubai in Nigeria, it should start from the South. Apart from the allocation, the 13% derivation is there, and so many other things that are coming into the states, and yet you still have the majority in penury. And that's really very, very worrisome.
Okay, let me go to Prof. Prof, very quickly, INEC has promised again, they've said this time all the glitches we had in the 2023 presidential election has been sorted out, and we can expect real-time transmission of results in these 3 elections. Elections are ongoing right now, from now till about 2:30 before the election will close. So as we go, what do you make of INEC's promise? Do you have confidence that this time around the glitches have indeed been sorted out?
Well, it's not about sorting the glitch out. It's actually about admitting challenges when they occur and admitting the promise that you have made and admitting failure when you fail. That's the problem with INEC, because this is not going to be the first or the last promise they are going to make concerning the glitches being resolved. We just hope that since the elections are already unfolding, when it is time, they will live up to their promises. We want to see what happens when it is time to upload those things into the IREP portal.
Yeah. Okedron Babatunde on Facebook says, why is it that when judiciary favors a party, it is victory for democracy, but if it's not, it is slap on Nigerian democracy? What's the difference between Electoral Act and INEC promises? E.g., INEC promised to relay results real time, but is that captured in the Electoral Act? That's a question for Barrister as we wrap up. Okedron Babatunde says, anytime any day, Dino is a comedian and a comic relief fellow. Okay. So Barrister, quickly, that question.
Well, you see, I don't want us to start the same arguments that were taken to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
concerning
the courts.
exactly, so I cannot constitute a court here, but I can only say that those issues will remain controversial for a long time to come.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Barrister Ogola, for joining us. Thank you, Prof, for joining us as well. We'll be back next Saturday, and by that time, hopefully, we'll have a clear picture of how things have panned out in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi states. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you, Prof, for joining us as well. Special thanks to everyone who called in, who listened, and who dropped their comment as well. It's been, highly engaging and informative having you being a part of the program today. Join us next Saturday. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning. Bye for now.
We can bet that you've never listened to radio like this before.
You can bet that you've never listened to radio like this before. It's the voice of happiness.